Good evening. Welcome to a very special program. Is a digital economy just a dream, or can it in fact become a reality? Is it enough for the government to say that a cashless system can in fact be achieved? What are we talking about in a country where millions are struggling to get just 2,000 rupees a day because of the cash ban? Despite the problem, and these problems are immense, is being optimistic the only way to secure the financial future of millions of Indians? Joining us today, a very special guest. Amitabh Kanth is the chairman of the Niti Ayog, the government think tank, as it were. He's a visionary at one level, but he also wants to be a part of the implementation process towards a cashless future. And he's here to give us an idea of why he believes going digital is actually easier than many believe it is. And also joining us in the studio, Raghavan Venkateshan. He's the head of digital payments and alternate channels at IDFC Bank. Thanks very much, Raghavan, for being with us. And I should also introduce perhaps our third guest on the program, which is this machine. And this is what we're actually going to show. So let's bring in a shot of this machine. This is a micro ATM. And in many ways, we are going to be talking about this. I'm going to hold it up for a moment to this camera just to give our viewers a better idea of what it is that we are talking about. We've heard of micro ATM in the past. This is what the device is. For starters, this device itself, which aims to transform lives in rural India, not just rural India, in parts in urban India as well, if it is acquired, is a made in India device. This is not an imported piece of technology. A to Z, it's made in India. How exactly does this work? And are we talking about a future which is not achievable? Is this some sort of a dream? Mr. Kanth, I'm sure, will be telling me that I must be dreaming if I believe that this is not real. It is. Thanks very much, Mr. Kanth, for being with us. Look, let's face it, lots of people are having problems. There are huge lines. It's getting cold. There are elderly people. There isn't enough cash in the system as yet. Why do you believe that this machine offers an alternate future to those queues?
Vishnu, there's a fourth guest as well, and that is this mobile.
Okay.
This mobile can be your bank. This mobile can be your wallet, and it can enable you to do just about everything. And there's a backbone to everything that is being said about digital India. Actually, there are 5 different ways in which you can transact business. You know, when we started off with computers, everybody said poor people can't handle it. When we did this with debit card, people said can't handle it. When we got ATM machines, people said that it can't be done. But the digital age is upon us. Cash must die. And cash must die simply because India has too much cash. 86% cash in an economy like India will breed huge amount of black money. It'll breed corruption. It'll breed a lot of counterfeit. Yeah. And therefore, you need to go digital. And what it does is that India has 5 different ways of going digital. First and foremost, there's a backbone called the Unified Payment Interface that connects all the banks here. And in my phone, actually, I have in my folder all of them here. So you can just get onto UPI from here. In flash of a second, of a second, you can actually do all the transactions. So here, you get in here, it's an app. You just download it and get on and do the transaction. It's a open.
So this is a government Paytm.
This is not.
What it is, right?
No, this is not the government Paytm. It's an open interoperable system across banks. You can transfer money from me to any other account. I can transfer money using my mobile to Mr. Vishnu Som. I can transfer it to any merchant as far as I want. You know. So it's possible to transfer from my account in 3 steps, and boom, it goes, and you can transfer. It's a very simple. It's like opening an email account.
Okay. Just one sec. A quick question. This entire activity, this entire goal, is premised on the fact that people have bank accounts, right?
Yeah.
Now, 255 million Jan Dhan accounts have been added as of the 16th of November. Despite that, there are 160 million unbanked in this country. Unless they enter the banking system, which is not easy to get people to necessarily do, all of this isn't going to work.
So I'm telling you 5 different ways by which every single person in India can do transactions. So those who do not have a smartphone, you'll say many parts of India do not have internet. Fair enough.
Yep.
There is the GSM phone. And for GSM phone, you have a system called USSD.
Yeah.
And USSD is very simple. It's *99#. You get onto that and you can send money from any part of India to any other person anywhere else. So that's the second method.
Call drops. How would you deal with that?
No, so let me come to that. Now, you have UPI. I told you about USSD. The third is that you have Aadhaar-enabled payment systems. Now, those who do not have phones, well, in India, 99.2% of the adults have Aadhaar.
Yes.
Have Aadhaar.
Yes.
99.2%. And out of them, there are 37 crore bank accounts which have already been seeded with Aadhaar numbers.
And so this is what would use that number. Let's do a transaction on this and see how it works. What are you going to show me?
I have transferred my Aadhaar number.
Yes.
My Aadhaar number I have given to Raghavan.
Yes.
And he is going to actually transact that transaction. He is the merchant.
Okay.
He is the merchant for today. I am the buyer.
Right.
And I have given him my Aadhaar number. Okay. And Raghavan, here you transact.
So the Aadhaar-enabled payment system just requires, Vishnu, only 2 inputs. And that's why it's one of the fast-growing payment systems in the country. You just need your Aadhaar number and bank name. Okay. No need of any account number or any such thing. So I have Amitabh's Aadhaar number. And so which bank do you bank with?
I bank with Central Bank in Udyog Bhavan. I don't need to give him my account number.
All we are stating is the Central Bank of India. Yeah. And then we are punching Amitabh's Aadhaar number. Thereafter, this prompts for the fingerprint.
Right, and I'll just pass on the film.
Yeah, sure.
So
we have taken the consent to take the fingerprint, and once this glows, you can just put your fingerprint. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. So this transaction goes from this micro ATM to an acquiring bank to NPCI, UID. It checks his fingerprint. Right. If it gets authenticated, it goes central bank, and that's about it.
And it says success.
Yeah, it says.
And here you go. And if we can just zoom in on this particular image, if you can just zoom in on this. Okay, I'll just give it to me over here. Sure. Yeah. All right. Here it says success. Okay. This is what it says. It says success. Yeah.
So all of this happened in less than 15 seconds.
And we were talking in the middle.
So
of
Vishnu, what?
It's actually less than 30
So you're talking about people without accounts. You are talking about people who do not have mobile telephones. Now what this does is that it enables you to create an instant account as well.
A bank account.
A bank account with your Aadhaar number. There are government instructions that your Aadhaar number becomes your KYC. It enables you to open your account immediately. And then the minute you feed your Aadhaar, that's just a three-step process.
But tell me one thing.
Aadhaar number, my thumb impression or my iris, and I feed my bank account and I feed the amount and tuck.
But Mr. Kanth, tell me one thing. In rural India, in parts of the country, what you describe with such aplomb is something that people will need to figure out. It's not that easy. Who is going to train tens of thousands of people across the country what you are saying? How will they learn this technology and its use?
So first of all, let me say that this is extremely simple and easy thing to do. And what will happen shortly is that every Android phone will become, this is nothing but an Android phone connected to a thumb impression.
Yes.
So everyone actually, and we are mandating that every phone made in India should have this thumb impression here. But today you can get this and it will cost you about 1,000 rupees.
Yes.
Put your thumb impression with the phone, use your mobile to do the transaction. Now, what you're saying requires a change of mindset across. India. And therefore, we've interacted with all district collectors across India. We've initiated a huge, massive campaign across India. The Department of Education here, the Ministry of Education, has initiated a huge campaign across IITs, NIITs, across our IIMs, to launch every single Indian, so and each one of us.
By when do you believe that there would be a substantial percentage of users, new users on this machine? Would you be able to get, say, 90% compliance in terms of people knowing how to use this machine across the country? By when?
No,
are we looking at 10 years from now?
No. Tell me, did the computer movement take 10 years, or did the debit card movement take 10 years? In India today, India is the only country in the world with 1 billion biometrics. India is the only country in the world with 1 billion mobile.
So when will we have this in
I
every
think a huge campaign means in 3 to 4 months' time, we can cut across the entire country. Every taluk, every panchayat, every district.
Disseminating the machine.
That's the challenge. That's the challenge. The challenge is in the next 4 months, we should get the whole country going across every panchayat, every taluk, every education, and every
to disseminate these
yes,
machines
absolutely,
across the country.
and every
within 4 months starting.
And every
right now?
Indian. Already started, yeah. And every single Indian, including you, Vishnu, must educate 30 Indians how to be digitally literate. These are 5 steps which are easy, simple to do. 5 different ways you can do digital transaction. They are very, very easy. They are very, very simple. It's like opening an email account. It's just about transiting from cash to the digital payment systems. They're very, very simple.
No, but it sounds tremendously simple. But the fact is, you need broadband access for this particular system, the micro ATM. Yeah. Broadband connectivity in this country is very poor.
You need 2G,
right? But that call drops take place. Yeah. So if you're talking about your normal cell phone, for this to be reliable.
Vishnu, let's go through the 5 measures, 5 different ways in you could do transactions. One is UPI, the second is USSD, the third is Aadhaar-enabled payment system. Now, Aadhaar-enabled payment system means that we have today in this country a lot of, the Department of Information Technology has over 2 lakh extension workers who are financially literate. Their job is to see that in every village there are 30 merchants. 30 merchants.
No, but would you have 2G or 3G over there?
So what happens with this, when this mobile, is that every single Indian with a smartphone becomes a walking ATM. Every single Ola and Uber driver is a walking ATM.
But that's premised on the availability of broadband.
Yeah, but
broadband doesn't exist in rural India. Broadband penetration is appalling in this country so far. It's improving, but it's nowhere close to.
But you need just 2G. You don't need 3G or 4G.
Even 2G doesn't exist.
Okay, so there are. Let me come. So those who do not have smartphones will use USSD from rural areas. You can do a USSD to transfer. Any part of India, you use a USSD to transfer money.
Right.
The fourth is that there are actually in India today, Vishnu, there are 80 crore debit cards. Everybody has a debit card.
Yes.
You know, if you look at the way the government went about, it first opened the Jan Dhan accounts.
Yes.
Then it gave RuPay cards to everyone. So people have RuPay cards.
So this is part of that process going
absolutely.
forward. Amitabh, one moment. I want to get across some questions. We've got a small group of students and young professionals with us as well. Can I go ahead and ask one of you to ask your question either to Raghavan or to Mr. Amitabh Kanth? Go ahead.
Sure. Vishnu, I have a group of students here. What is your question to Mr. Kanth?
Well, my first question is that how safe is this to access, as you were saying, we have to enter our Aadhaar card and then we have to put our thumbprint, and anyone can access it, like if we give our Aadhaar card to them.
That's a very important question. We'll take that question.
So,
how safe is this?
Can anyone take away your iris? Can anyone take away your thumb impression? The system doesn't work. Anybody can have your number, but the system doesn't work without your thumb impression or without your iris. So it's safe, like 110% safe, 110% safe. Only the person who has a thumb impression or an iris can operate it.
But nowadays technology is that much enhanced that anyone can access our thumbprint also. It's shown in movies and all. Everyone, anyone can access it.
That's shown in movies. Hopefully it doesn't exist in the real world. And if it does, then perhaps
Aadhaar also has a lot of cyber security walls behind it.
Okay, let's get in another comment from somebody. Yes.
Yeah, all right. And my question is that what is the limit of this machine? Like every machine has a limit. How much money can we actually transact? So that is my question. That what is the limit of this machine?
Let Raghavan go ahead.
So see, this is an interoperable system. You know, to simply explain. Today, when you go to an ATM and you dip a card and you enter PIN, you don't really think about which bank ATM it is. The similar concept is what we have enabled on a micro ATM. So if you are a home bank customer, that means, say for example, is an IDFC ATM and you're an IDFC customer, then depending upon the category of account, you can take out the money. Those are the risk rules which the bank has in place. But if you are another bank customer, you too can access this public financial services infrastructure.
This would be operated by operators who are trained. They would be carrying cash with them.
So Vishnu, our objective is really that every single, there are bank correspondents, there are banking mitras,
yes.
there are extension workers with the computer societies which can do this. Every single telephone company agent can handle this. Every single Ola and Uber driver can handle it.
Would handle money. They would disseminate money and they would collect money also.
Vishnu, if I may add.
So what you can do is, you can do debit. The big thing is that you don't have to handle, it's important for Vishnu, for people like you and educated people like you to understand that you don't need cash. You can do debit and credit without getting into cash.
No, but that's not realistic. In India right now.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. It needs a, when people like you keep talking about cash, people must understand that there has to be a change of mindset.
There needs to be a change of mindset, but it's going to be a while before that happens.
So that's what I'm saying.
I mean, it's not possible for all vegetable sellers. It's not possible for the local economy to instantly move to a cashless system.
I'll tell you, at my house, for instance, the vegetable seller today comes with a mobile.
With a Paytm.
With a Paytm. Right. And I can today buy vegetables from him, put my thumb impression, or transfer him money with the Paytm. Or I can actually do this and see that my money goes into his account. If money goes straight into his account, he sees that. He gets a receipt for that. So important thing is, when I move forward, all of us have debit cards. People like you go and withdraw money from ATMs. You don't need to withdraw money from it. Actually, you can use your debit card to do all transactions.
How about those who are illiterate, those who are intimidated by technology, those who do not know how to use an ATM, those who do not have a bank account?
So, Vishnu,
these are our citizens.
So, yeah, absolutely.
And we are offering them a future which they perhaps do not
Vishnu, exactly. So our job and the government's job is to do a huge extension, mass communication, handhold them, facilitate them, act as catalyst, and our job is to see that we really take them through this process of creative disruption in the society. I would call it's totally a great process of creative destruction, of destroying 86% cash and leapfrogging into another age. And why it's a great age of leapfrogging? Because India will bypass several generations, several generations, simply because we are the only country with 1 billion biometric. We are the only country with 1 billion mobile.
Mr. Kanth, let's get more questions, and we've got 3-4 minutes left. Go ahead with your questions.
Yeah, Vishnu, I have some questions here on how viable is it in rural India. What was your question?
So I believe not everyone is that literate. And what about the rural India? And not even everyone have accounts in villages. I mean, there's most of the population without accounts in villages. So what about them?
So I have one more question, Vishnu, here.
It's not only about the bank accounts or ATM cards. There are some people, till date, they haven't got their smart cards also, right? And we have to consider everyone as an equal. So how they can be helped out?
Yeah. Okay. So one of the great things about this system of Aadhaar-enabled payment system is that you can use this system of Aadhaar-enabled. The government orders are that on the basis of Aadhaar, with your consent, you can open a bank account immediately. The bank manager with this machine can open a bank account immediately. You can get into debit credit straight away. So don't worry about if somebody doesn't have a bank account, this will get done. Now our job is to see that the huge government machinery at the grassroots, whether it is people who've been trained in financial inclusion, whether it's people who are working across rural development, IIT engineers, IIT trained people, you know, there are 4 million Indians who are trained in engineering, IITs, software, etc. They can all train 10 people each. So therefore, each one of you, and my request to all of you and all young Indians across the country is that take it as a challenge. Take it as a challenge. India must transform itself, and each one of you must become the brand ambassador of transforming India. You will never get this opportunity again to transform India and jump 100 steps forward in one transformation. And therefore, each one of you, you may have your doubts, but this is the reality. The reality is that technology can be utilized today to transform India in a way in which India can never be transformed.
All right. If it does work out, it will truly be a revolution. I don't think anybody doubts that. But last question to you.
And Vishnu, let me tell you, it is a revolution. It is a technologically a revolution.
I don't think anybody doubts the revolution, but like in the case of demonetization, its implementation on the ground, which I'm sure you accept, would be your biggest challenge.
Absolutely.
Right? Because the technology you believe is foolproof. You've established how it is. It's actually implementation and dissemination. Last question to you. What are some of the other functions of this machine?
So as Amitabh has already explained, it's a bank in a box. You know, there are 4 facets to this entire banking. One is customer origination, which is done through eKYC. So you have an instant bank account. Immediately you can put money and withdraw money or do a cashless purchase.
Okay.
So there is an account origination, there's an account servicing to it. Tomorrow, when we have millions of micro ATMs in the country, if you want to order for a checkbook or a passbook, you don't have to run for a branch. Just come to the micro ATM, do the Aadhaar authentication and place your request. It comes. So there is account servicing. Then the third is a payment chassis. So in the payment chassis, you will have a number of authentication mechanisms. You could have a card and a PIN, you could have Aadhaar based, and we could also have an OTP based payment chassis.
Right.
The fourth is of course the future. I mean, how will we do digital lending? So today there are many firms which are looking at algorithms and looking at the transaction data. Once this person comes into the formal economy, then even digital lending is possible.
So we are, Vishnu, on the cusp of the biggest possible financial inclusion drive. What it will do is enable data to be available. You can do data analytics, and many of these people who are not getting loans today would be able to get loans across the board just on the basis of analytics. And therefore, truly, truly, this is a revolutionary movement, and India should never lose this opportunity.
And this opportunity, you believe, will become realistic in terms of broad-based dissemination when?
No, we are at it already. We have launched a huge campaign.
But you've not given me a direct answer to this. Do you believe, based on the campaign and the dissemination of this technology physically, the training of operators, how soon before we can say?
I think we should be able to reach about 75 cities, towns, and several parts of our rural areas where transactions are done.
75%?
75 of our cities and towns where about 70% of the transactions actually take place. We have a strategy, we have 3-pronged strategy. One with those with smartphones, those without smartphones, and those at the bottom of the pyramid. I think in 6 months' time we should be able to crack it.
Okay. Well, it has to be a lot more than 70 towns and villages. But this is about a starting point, I think, is what you're talking about.
Including the 350 million people at the bottom of the pyramid. And that is a big, big challenge where we have to handhold.
But that's at a subsequent stage. Initially, in 6 months, you believe 70 cities and 70 towns within 6 months.
So we've gone first with the farmers, with the laborers.
In 70 cities and towns.
Across the country.
Across the country.
This is a campaign across the country.
Within 6 months, in 70 cities and towns.
And the entire country.
Ultimately, right? Because we are more than 70 cities and towns. We are millions, right?
So this campaign is aimed at 1.3 billion Indians. It's not aimed at 70 cities.
And when would that happen?
6 months' time, we'll crack it and deliver it to you.
All right, 6 months' time. Let's see how soon this can all come into place. I don't think anybody doubts that it's a revolution when it does happen. The question is implementation. That perhaps is the biggest challenge ahead. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you, both of you, and our small audience for asking those questions. Let's see what the future really is for a digital India.